Welcome to Peaceful Mind Project, your safe space for mental clarity and emotional healing. If you overthink everything, if you replay conversations in your head over and over, if you constantly scan for what could go wrong before making any move, I need you to hear this. You weren't born that way. Let that sink in for a second. You became an overthinker because of the environment you grew up in. And here at Peaceful Mind Project, we're going to break down exactly why your brain does this, and, more importantly, how to retrain it. Because if you don't understand this, you'll spend your entire life living in your head instead of living in your life. So if overthinking is stealing your peace, this video could change everything. Let's dive in. Section 1. Overthinking is protection. First, I want you to understand something crucial. Overthinking is a protection mechanism. And your brain isn't just trying to protect you from danger. It's trying to protect you from unpredictability, from uncertainty, from every possible outcome that could go wrong. And here's where it gets really interesting. Research on hypervigilance shows that when someone grows up in an unpredictable environment, emotionally inconsistent parents, financial chaos, anger outbursts, emotionally immature caregivers, your nervous system learns one thing. If I scan everything constantly, and I can figure out how to stay safe. So, what did you do as a child? You learned to read tone shifts. You analyzed facial expressions. You replayed conversations over and over, trying to figure out what you could do differently next time. You learned to anticipate worst-case scenarios. You learned to overthink every single detail. You accidentally trained your brain to do this. Your nervous system learned uncertainty equals threat. And now, as an adult, it's really hard to stop doing what kept you safe when you were younger. Pause. Take a second. Does this sound familiar? Did you grow up having to read the room just to feel safe? Drop a thought bubble if you're realizing this right now. You're not alone in this. We're all here at Peaceful Mind Project learning together. Section 2. The Uncertainty Trap. Now here's something wild from neuroscience research. There was a study where participants were given electric shocks. When they knew they were going to get shocked, their stress levels were actually lower than when they were told they might get shocked. Think about that. The possibility of pain created more stress than guaranteed pain. Your brain, as an overthinker, would rather know the bad thing is coming than sit in uncertainty. So if you grew up in a household where your parent might yell, might judge you, might blow up without warning, your nervous system learned to stay alert and to think through every possible outcome. Your brain started scanning for tone changes, facial shifts, tiny cues that could help you avoid the explosion. Over time, you learned to mentally rehearse every scenario. If I say this, will they get upset? If I do that, will they get mad? If I say this, will they judge me? That constant overthinking? It's what you developed to protect yourself. But here's the key that changes everything. When your brain doesn't know what's going to happen, and it simulates what could happen. Overthinking is mental simulation. Let that land. You're not overthinking about what's happening right now. You're overthinking about what could happen later. Your brain is trying to convert uncertainty into predictability. If I think through every scenario, then I'll be prepared. But here's the trap. You can't simulate infinity. There are infinite scenarios, infinite possibilities. Overthinking is an attempt to control the uncontrollable. In psychology, this is called intolerance of uncertainty. And research shows that people who score high in this engage in more mental rumination, not because they were born that way, but because their nervous system equates uncertainty with danger. Interactive moment. Real talk. Do you find yourself trying to plan for every possible outcome just to feel safe? Comment, yes, if this is you. Let's normalize this at Peaceful Mind Project. Section 3. The real reason you overthink. Now here's the part most people don't realize. Overthinking is not about outcomes. It's about emotional avoidance. You're not trying to control the situation. You're trying to control how you feel if something goes wrong. You're trying to control your emotions by not allowing anything to go wrong in the first place. Let me say that again because it's so important. It's never the actual situation that's the problem. It's how you feel and react if it goes wrong. Think about it. If you're afraid of flying, you're not afraid of flying. You're afraid of crashing. Same thing here. You don't want to control the situation because you want control. You want to control the situation so you can control how you feel. Really let that sink in. So, if that's the case, why don't we just focus on what we feel instead of trying to control external circumstances? And here's the paradox nobody talks about. Overthinking feels like preparation, but neurologically, it actually reinforces fear. Every time you mentally rehearse a disaster, you activate your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, even though nothing is going wrong right now. And here's the kicker. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you repeatedly imagine something going wrong, your brain encodes it as an actual experience. You're training yourself to expect threat all the time, which is why overthinking gets worse over time if you don't stop it. In neuroscience, there's something called Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you overthink and ruminate, it's a training session for your brain. You're literally strengthening the neural pathways of anxiety through repetition. That's why overthinking becomes automatic. You've practiced it without even realizing it. Turn Section 4. How to retrain your brain. All right, so what do? Here at Peaceful Mind Project, we focus on practical tools you can actually use. I can't just tell you, stop overthinking. That doesn't work. We need an actual strategy. Here are 4 powerful steps you can start using today. Step 1. Train tolerance, not control. Instead of asking, how can I make this situation certain? Ask, how can I become the type of person who can handle uncertainty? This is huge. Because you're no longer trying to control the world. You're strengthening your nervous system. And here's the truth. You will never control the world. So how do you build tolerance? Micro-exposures to uncertainty. Send a text without reading it 5 times. Make a small decision without asking everyone else what they think. Leave something undone on purpose, just to prove to yourself you won't die. You're teaching your nervous system. I can survive without being perfect. I can survive without knowing. I can survive if something goes wrong. Over time, that threat response you've built so strong, it starts to shrink. Step 2. Separate problem-solving from rumination. Here's what most people don't realize. Rumination feels productive, but it's just circular. Research in clinical psychology shows that rumination increases depression and anxiety because it doesn't generate solutions. It just amplifies emotional distress. So here's what you do. When you catch yourself overthinking, ask, am I solving something specific, or am I just emotionally looping? If you can't write down a concrete next step, it's rumination. And if it's rumination, change your state, not your thinking. Move your body. Change your environment. Go for a walk. Do jumping jacks. Shift your physiology. Trying to think your way out of overthinking is like trying to dig your way out of a hole. You're just going deeper. Our rumination is not a logic problem. It's a nervous system problem. So, change your body first, then address your thoughts. Step 3. Build evidence that you're emotionally resilient. Your brain overthinks because it doesn't trust that you can handle the situation, that you can handle the pain, so you need to give it evidence that you can. Start tracking. Times you survived being embarrassed. Times you got rejected and it didn't destroy you. Times things went wrong and you adapted and survived. Times you made it through really hard situations. Build a pool of evidence. Write it down. Because your brain will naturally focus on the negative. It'll say, "Remember that one time everything collapsed?" But if you actively collect evidence of your resilience, you're retraining your brain. Confidence isn't certainty. Confidence is knowing you'll survive and come out stronger. Step 4. Stop trying to eliminate fear. Fear is just the edge of your comfort zone. It's not a red light. If you feel that tightness in your chest before making a decision or speaking up, that's not danger. That's pressure on your comfort zone. And pressure? That's an opportunity for growth. So stop thinking, "I need to back off." Start thinking, "This is my chance to grow." Your mistakes are not that big of a deal. And the only way to get better is to recalibrate and keep pushing yourself forward. One peaceful step at a time. Interactive moment. Which of these 4 steps do you need most right now? Drop a 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the comments. Let's support each other here at Peaceful Mind Project. Closing, all right. So here's what I really want you to take away from this. If you overthink, it's because at some point in your life, it worked. It kept you safe. It kept you connected. And it helped you survive an unpredictable environment. But what helped you survive back then is limiting how you live right now. So don't shame yourself for it. Just retrain your brain. Develop new patterns. Build new neural pathways. The goal is not to eliminate uncertainty or fear. That's impossible. The goal is to become so internally strong and stable that uncertainty doesn't control you anymore. You're not trying to get rid of fear. You're trying to become stronger than the fear. Because here's the truth. The most powerful people in the world aren't the ones who can predict every outcome. They're the ones who trust themselves no matter what happens. And if you can build that within yourself, the overthinking will start to fade. Not because you're forcing it out, but because you're realizing, "I'm so strong, I no longer need to overthink. I trust myself more than I need to predict every outcome. I'll be good. Everything will work out. I'm strong, and I trust myself." And that's how you stop overthinking. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. We're building a healing community here at Peaceful Mind Project, one peaceful step at a time. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you're going to try this week to break the overthinking cycle? Thanks for being here at Peaceful Mind Project. I'll see you in the next one.